Welcome to another episode of the Cat Breeding for Beginners podcast. I'm Pamela and I breed British Shorthairs in Perth, Western Australia. I have a real passion for cat breeding and exhibiting, and I want to share my knowledge and experience with you. I'm on a mission to help new cat breeders go from feeling intimidated, confused and having trouble getting started to confidently breeding happy and healthy cats whilst enjoying this amazing hobby. Before we get started, make sure you visit my website and download your copy of my helpful guide, Advice to New Breeders, where experienced breeders share some great tips they wish someone told them when they started breeding. You can find the link on my homepage at www.catbreedingforbeginners.com. Just look for the picture of Angelica with her kittens. Have you ever heard this from anybody when you've been talking to other cat breeders? That you need to have a certain number of girls to keep a boy happy. Now, I've heard this many times, and I've heard different versions of it, that each boy needs to have X number of girls to keep him happy. And I want to tell you that it is not that simple. It really isn't that simple, and it's also not that prescriptive either. It's very flexible, and the one thing it's going to depend on is your boy. And probably your girls. So when you think about a boy being happy, and we think about that a boy needs to have a certain number of matings a year and a certain number of females, and I often have new breeders asking me, quite worried and nervous and saying, I'm really worried because my boy's not going to be happy because I don't have enough girls for him, or should I start taking in outside matings because my boy doesn't have enough matings and he's not going to be happy. I want to tell you that you need to wait and see if your boy's unhappy before you assume he's going to be unhappy, especially when you have a younger boy and you're bringing him on and you're starting to make plans about what you're going to be doing in the future. There is no need to rush out and get 6 girls for him. Maybe he does need 6 girls, but there's no need to rush out and get them until you know he needs them. And that's the point. You need to assess your boy and see whether or not what he is telling you that he needs. Now, if you have a boy that cries a lot, is pacing up and down, is losing weight, losing condition, acting stressed out, not really super happy to be a stud, maybe you might want to actually only give him 1 girl, and you might actually want to de-sex him and keep one of her kittens to replace him. That's an option as well. But you need to think about, what you ideally want is a boy that seems happy, and that gets the matings that he needs to be happy. Now, if I think about the mix that I've had over the years, I've had some boys have had lots of girls, some boys have only had a girl a year, some boys have gone a couple of years without having a girl, and I can think of one in particular. I didn't even really think about it. I just had chosen to mate my girls to all my other boys, and he missed out one year, and he did not give me any indication that he cared whatsoever. He really didn't. He had girls the next year and he was happy. He wasn't unhappy without the girls, but it really does depend on your particular cat. And it also depends on the breed as well, because some breeds are a little bit more hormonal, are a little bit more needy in terms of their sexual needs, if you like, and they may need to have a few more matings than, say, one of the more seasonal or lazy breeds like mine. But it really does come down to your cat, and it comes down to what seems right for you. And if you try to look for a ratio and look for a specific number of cats, I need 2.3 girls, my boy has to be mated 4 times. If you start looking for a hard and fast rule, that's where you're going to come unstuck, because you're going to make decisions based on something that actually might not even be applicable to your situation. What you need to do is look at what your cats are telling you. And while you've got a young cat, I think I said before, while you've got a young cat, you don't need to be jumping up and down making plans for him, because you just start off with what you have. If you have 1 boy and 1 girl, you start off with 1 boy and 1 girl, and then you mate them together, and maybe you realize then that he seems like he might like to have another girl, or he'd be capable of having a girl, and then maybe you actually get an adult female from another breeder, or maybe you talk to somebody about would they like to come and have a mating from your cat in exchange for a kitten that you will then keep, a female kitten, so that later on you will have more cats. So these things all take a little bit of time to work out. But if you jump in at the beginning and get too many cats too soon, that is the biggest thing that I want you to avoid. That is probably my biggest piece of advice. So that would be my advice, is to play it by ear, see what works best for your cats. Don't necessarily be listening. Well, you can listen to other people's advice, absolutely, especially if they breed the same breed as you, but don't go looking for absolute definite rules about this. It's not a ratio. It's not you have to have this amount for this amount. It's based on your own instincts, and you will learn over time what's right for your cats. Now, in the time I've been breeding, I've had lots of boys. I've had a couple of boys. I've had lots of girls. I've had 1 or 2 girls. I've had, years when I've been keeping grandma and granddaughter, years when I've just had the mum, which will make sense if you think about the way that I do breeding. I often will breed and keep my female, and then I'll keep her grandma, and I'll desex the cat that's in the middle, so that I'm just making sure that I'm not ending any lines sometimes. That's probably a topic for another podcast, and I'm sure there's probably a lot more other topics for other podcasts. If you have anything that you'd like to know, like me to talk about, or like me to discuss, just pop it in the comments below wherever you are listening to this. You can also jump onto my socials, my Instagram and Facebook page, and ask me questions there, because I really do enjoy giving the information to people who actually need to hear it, and it feels really rewarding to me to have people say that they've learned a lot from me, and especially when it comes to things like stud cats, because I have this other thing that I feel like I'm not just changing people's, I don't think I'm necessarily changing people's lives, but I really do believe that I am changing cats' lives, and that there's cats out there that maybe might not have been in such a great, super happy about their situation. And because I've been able to help people with what to do with their stud cats and breeding cats, that those cats might be in a better situation now. And that really means a lot to me. So if you've had something like that as well, if you feel like your cats are happier because of things that you might have learnt from me, I would absolutely love to hear about that too. I love getting feedback from all of the new breeders that listen to my podcast and follow me on my socials, and everybody in my new cat breeders club. I absolutely adore it. So if there's anything else I can help you with, make sure that you ask. But like I said, when it comes down to it, ratios for boys and girls, it depends on your cats, and you get to decide and think about what you're looking for and what you're breeding. Okay, thanks guys. Thanks for listening. Make sure you visit www.catbreedingforbeginners.com, where you can find articles, guides, courses and more. Plus, make sure you check out my amazing New Cat Breeders Club. It's a supportive space where new cat breeders can learn, share and help each other. I only take new members a few times a year, so sign up to make sure you don't miss out.